version, the synthetic version provides a more consistent and uniform finished product. But what's particularly troubling is that this isn't even a question of safety. To FDA, it's simply definitional. If the ingredient is produced in a lab, no matter how nature identical it is, it can't be used in a dietary supplement. And no amount of safety data appears that will change the FDA's mind. So we certainly need to address this issue with the FDA in our comments and in our responses, and hopefully it will be one of those issues that Michael points out where they change their mind. But CRN is very troubled about both of these areas, the levels of safety required and the definition of dietary ingredient, and we will be addressing it in our comments. So, Senator Hatch, we hope that you will consider our concerns, and we would encourage all of you in the audience to join us in filing your own comments and working with the trade associations at this table to file industry comments so that we can end up with a document that we can all live with. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Orrin Hatch, Executive Director of the United Natural Products Alliance. Just a word of history. We began life, we're in Salt Lake City, and it was the fall 20 years ago, 1991, that 8 Utah-based companies organized themselves into the Utah Natural Products Alliance for the express purpose of tackling some of the very same issues that we're talking about today. We have since become the United Natural Products Alliance and work with companies all over the U.S. and internationally. And the reason is that Utah, as you know, is the global capital for dietary supplement manufacturing. We are the second largest industry in the state. Only tourism is bigger than our industry. We represent thousands and thousands of jobs. Our best estimate is that we represent $6.3 to $6.5 billion of revenue annually in this state. It is one of the most important revenue bases that we have. These are jobs. These are our jobs. The reason that we're sitting here together today, and this is an extraordinary moment to have Senator Hatch and the heads of the major trade associations together, because we are deeply concerned about this issue of new dietary ingredients. It was because of the shade that we were able to confirm free market access to dietary supplements. That's a profound issue. And one of the central issues that Senator Hatch fought for was to make sure that there was not a pre-market approval mechanism which creates a Mother May I process. We knew that that would ultimately be the death of dietary supplements as we know them today, to provide the free market access to consumers. You might remember, many of you, I see familiar faces in the audience, is that this issue, meaning the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act that passed in 1994, drew more congressional constituent comments and phone calls and rallies than any issue other than the Vietnam War in the modern era. That's the level of interest among consumers of our products. The reason that we sit here together today is that we see in this draft guidance a document that could create pre-market approval for not just dietary ingredients, but dietary supplements. And this is a very key distinction that we want everyone to be clear about. That in the shade that we recognize the need to have a mechanism to look at new things that would come to the market to make sure that they were safe to a reasonable standard. That was understood as an acceptable and important process for consumers to have confidence in our products. What we did not want was a process that was product specific for the reasons that we're now seeing in this guidance document. And the difference is holding a passport. If you decide to go on vacation to Europe and you have a passport, once you're inside the European Union, that passport is good and you can move freely from country to country. What we see in this document is a process where you lose that passport and you have to stop every time you move to a new country. That seems to be the working equivalent here. Our understanding of what the law means, and Senator Hatch is the authority on this, is that that's not what was intended. The reason this is important for you, and one of the reasons for this meeting, is to call on Utahns to stand together on this issue. We do need to stand tall as a state, and we will do so. We do need to express our views that we want our customers to have access to safe products that are made in high-quality facilities to good manufacturing practices. But what we cannot agree to is a process that every time you change a manufacturing process, you trigger a 75-day wait period. You have to go ask permission to market that product. If you change labeling, you may have to submit another 75-day notification. If you change manufacturing process or combination of ingredients, suddenly triggering the 75-day wait period. This is in addition to the expense of preparing documentation to submit products if it was for an ingredient only. What we're studying very closely here, and we will ask your cooperation in this process, is what is the true economic impact of this guidance? We need to understand what it really means in jobs and how you run your daily business. What we're concerned about is to create a free flow mechanism so that the innovation that we need is not interrupted constantly by an unnecessary requirement to notify FDA. So part of the reason we felt that it was important for us to come together with Senator Hatch was to try and make sure during this critical time when we're developing our comments to give them back to FDA that there is a unity of voice and perspective. And a central issue that we have to understand is what is the true economic impact of this? Are we talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions, or are we talking about a fundamental change in how you're able to do business at all? So to the extent this guidance, and part of the challenge we have is that a guidance is not a regulation and it's not a statute, is what is the most effective response mechanism back to FDA? Our intention is to be clear, to be respectful, but also to make it understood is that this distinction between reviewing an ingredient and reviewing a product is a vast difference. And we've agreed to one, not the other process. We hope that this does not come to a congressional oversight question. But I'm awfully glad that Senator Hatch is the one that will be there if it comes to that. We have all been actively talking to his staff to try and make sure that we're all clear on the go-forward plan. And we need all of you. And again, Utah has to stand tall on this issue, which is why this meeting is being held, is to communicate the urgency of the issue, have you participate to the extent that you're willing to in an economic impact survey, so that we can look at Utah, because it is a $6 billion industry, because the impact here would be so significant, there's no better place to try and study how would this really affect us. We will be working together as associations and working closely with Senator Hatch's office to make sure we get this right. And as long as that takes, we'll keep at this. But we will look to you. When you are the boots on the ground, you are representing the manufacturing and retail sector of the industry, is the more clearly we can articulate how this will affect the economy, the more clearly I believe that we will get regulators' attention as well as members of Congress to say this is not the right time to be fooling around with a system that denies access to consumers, but more importantly, damages the economy. And it will be a long, cold day before, in Utah, we will accept a process that would limit your ability to freely and openly produce high-quality products. We've gone through a great deal together on good manufacturing practices. And some parts of this guidance seem to us to really involve GMPs. They involve a process. What we're looking for is a process that would look at the ingredient and let GMP do its job and separate these two issues apart. So with that, let me thank you for being here today. It's a proud day when Utah gets together and we can talk about these issues. So we will be calling on you to assist in this particular process to look at economic impact, but we will also be asking you to file comments as individuals or as companies. The number of comments will make a difference, and the clarity and the focus of our comments will make a difference. So we stand ready. We're here to help you, and we need you to help us right now. So again, thank you for being here, and we'll be talking to each other a great deal.
Hi, I'm Scott Melville. I'm President and CEO of the Consumer Healthcare Products Association.